My goodness. I had a rough time getting here, which is why I'm late, and I sincerely apologize. I hope that no one's upset with me. I was trying to log on for the past 10 minutes or so, and I think it's because I have two channels now that the authentication process that it goes through is horrible. So I apologize. I'm here a little bit late, just a few minutes, but hopefully people will have added this new channel to their YouTube accounts as subscribers so that they can come in and still participate in the live streams. Hopefully it won't take too long for people to see the news on my other channel and come over here for the live streams. I am going to try to continue to do these. I was looking at the group pages, I guess, for people who have had similar issues with YouTube, and it was talking about not hearing back for like 30 days. It could take as long as a couple weeks or 30 days to hear back. That usually they will reinstate if it takes that long, but it may take that long. So until then, here I am. And I'm just going to wait a little bit to see if anybody who normally comes for these live streams on Mondays and Thursdays has been able to join this new channel to see the live stream that I set up here. So hopefully it won't put anybody off that I was a little bit late, but still trying to work my way around this temporary fix that I've got going on. So I will update. So I've got a couple of people here. Hello and welcome. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I was having issues getting logged in. It doesn't like it. I have multiple accounts going on, so I don't know if I needed to sign out with one, but it took me about 10 minutes to get here. So I was running a little bit later than I wanted because I was writing, and I didn't want to stop where I was at. So I didn't get going until about 10 to 7 up here to turn my computer on, and then I was just having a whole bunch of issues. But I'm here, and hopefully the people who are here with me are able to be in chat so we can get some discussion going. I was writing the final chapter to my, well, I was going through and my proofreading, I guess, kind of came in the way of doing 2 videos earlier. I went through the first 4 chapters of what I wrote, although they're not really chapters. So I was kind of proofreading a bit as I was going. So I picked up my proofreading from where I stopped. And then I wrote about the strong delusion. So I am now officially through 2 Thessalonians 2, 1 through 12. And I'm going to read the rest of the chapter and see if maybe we can, maybe I can intertwine that in there. But it's completely different from what verses 1 through 12 we're talking about. Verse 13 starts with a but. And it's always interesting when after there's this bit of information, this teaching that's going on, and then there's a but, which obviously means that it doesn't apply to them. And he's got another purpose in telling them all of that, which I spent a bunch of time going through. I hit 40 pages, which is pretty much what I expected to hit. And so once I finish proofreading what I went through tonight, I'll give the whole thing another once over. I do have to write a conclusion, so I'm not sure how I'll sum it all up yet. And I am going to stick something else on the end of it, a little surprise, like, hey, did you know? Maybe a couple of just real quick question and answer things. Like I put one, this type of thing. Because this whole purpose, this whole In the Spotlight, Volume 1, etc., they'll take a little bit of time to do because, again, these are going to be contentious, and I know that, and I understand that. I lost some subscribers because I understand people don't want to hear what I'm saying, and that's okay. Everybody is entitled to their own opinions, and, I would just encourage people to do their own study. And if I do nothing else, then hopefully I just provide a springboard for people to look into these things themselves, which is what I want them to do. I don't want or expect, I really don't want anyone to just take my word for these things. So I provide as much scripture as possible so that people don't have to just take my word for things. That doesn't do anybody any good. And I've gotten myself in trouble with thinking I thought knew things that I didn't because I just took people's word for it. You know, majority rules, right? Well, no, not always, not always. So here's one of the kind of little blurbs that not this one specifically, but something interesting maybe. In Matthew 24. Why does the moon go dark after the tribulation of those days? And the verse that I'm talking about, referencing, is Matthew 24, 30. Oops, in the wrong chapter. Let's see, Matthew 24, 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heavens shall be shaken. Powers of the heavens shall be shaken. So, specifically the moon. Because a lot of people believe that the second coming is going to happen on the Feast of Trumpets because they believe that's the next one in line to be fulfilled. But also because the sun and the moon are mentioned as being darkened, like there's some sort of eclipse, which the new moon would be dark. And so that's that's part of the reason that a lot of people believe that the Feast of Trumpets is an ideal day for the second coming. Also because they believe that it hasn't been fulfilled yet and it's next in line. But specifically dealing with the darkened moon. In Matthew 24, why does the moon go dark after the tribulation of those days? Because the moon's light, and this is just a scientific fact, because the moon's light is actually a reflection of the sun's light. The moon doesn't have any light of its own. It reflects the sunlight to the earth. So because the moon's light is actually a reflection of the sun's light, and the sun goes dark at that time, here's the key point: never to shine again. It's got nothing to do with an eclipse or a new moon. The whole of Isaiah 60 gives context for this, especially verses 19 through 22. Isaiah 60 is about the millennial kingdom. So I'm actually going to read Isaiah 60. If you're not familiar with it, then here you go. But the last 4 or 5 verses of this chapter are where we get to the sun at the end of Daniel's 70th week. The sun's done for permanently, forever, kaput. So Isaiah 60, starting in verse 1. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. This is talking about the glorious appearing of the Lord Jesus Christ at the second coming. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and the kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about, and see. They all gather themselves together, they come to thee. Thy son shall come from the far, and thy daughter shall be nursed at thy side. Then shalt thou see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the seas shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. The multitude of camels shall cover thee, the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah. All they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. And the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nebaioth, I probably butchered that name, sorry, shall minister unto thee. They shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from afar. Their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor I have had mercy on thee. Talking about Israel at the end of the 70th week. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious. So this is clearly about the second coming, and everybody going to Jerusalem to worship the Holy One of Israel, Jesus Christ, who will come back at the glorious appearing. So we skip down to the bottom of the chapter. I just wanted to establish context so everybody knows this is clearly about the second coming and into the millennial kingdom. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation and thy gates praise. Here we go. This is why the moon goes dark at the second coming in Matthew, because the sun goes dark and the moon reflects the sun's light. The sun will never shine again. So it's not about an eclipse, and it's not about a new moon, because those are temporary things. This is a permanent thing. The sun and moon go dark. After the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. This is why. The sun shall no more be thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee. But the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and thy glory, and thy God thy glory. Thy sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself. For the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. Thy people also shall be righteous. They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I might be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, clearly a reference to the millennial kingdom. And a small one, a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time. So just kind of little, hey, did you know? Everybody knows this verse about the sun and the moon in Matthew 24, but do you know why that happens? It's not a natural thing. It's a supernatural thing. And that's because in the millennial kingdom, the sun and the moon will not shine. The Lord will be the light in the millennial kingdom. Now, people may say, oh, but Revelation says that won't happen until eternity. Well, it obviously happens in both, because you have in Isaiah 65 a restored heaven and earth. Obviously, we can't live for 1,000 years in an age of righteousness on a sin-cursed and burned-up world. So it's restored. That's one of the things that's restored, is the heaven and earth. And then also, at the end of that, heaven and earth fled away from the face of him whose face did sit on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. Well, not from the wrath of the Lamb. Talking about the great white throne, heaven and earth flee from his face. And then in the next chapter, after everyone's eternal destinies are set, and there's an entirely new heaven and earth recreated, and New Jerusalem comes out from heaven, and God dwells among everybody. So just because it happened going into eternity doesn't mean that that's the only time it'll happen. Because clearly there's a restoration of heaven and earth that comes into the millennial kingdom. Isaiah 65 talks about that. Not just Revelation 21 after the 1,000 years. And then also Isaiah 60 talks about the sun never shining. And we know from Revelation 21 that the Lord will be the light of New Jerusalem in eternity. But that doesn't mean it doesn't happen in the millennial kingdom too. So my thought is just to kind of give little one-offs like that, maybe at the end of it, but I don't want to wait too long because I want to get this out. So I believe that I've written everything that I'm going to. Let me just go to 2 Thessalonians 2. I started sharing the videos, trying to explain in as much detail. And there's repetition, there's going to be, because these concepts are gone over multiple times, and so with each explanation, you have to give support to help people understand and not just take for granted that they'll recall what you already said. So there's repetition, but, it is what it is. So, let's see. 2 Thessalonians 2. Yeah, so he goes from verses 1 through 12, talking about something. And then he switches gears completely, and he says, "But we are bound to give thanks always to God for you, brethren, beloved of the Lord, because God hath from the beginning chosen you to salvation through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth." So that is 100% contrasted with what he just ended up talking about, with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth that they might be saved. But obviously, the brethren of the church of Thessalonica are the opposite of that. Whereunto he called you by our gospel to the obtaining of the glory of our Lord Jesus Christ. So, I'm probably not going to include any more because it's opposite of what I've been talking about. And obviously, if the Gentiles are preaching to the Jews, and they're preaching and being called brethren and assembling unto him, then it goes without saying that they're in Christ. So I'm not going to go any further in 2 Thessalonians 2. So I finished the strong delusion part, and now I'm just going to do a small conclusion and call it a day. I will proofread it, and then I will wind up putting it on academia because that'll put it out to as many people as I know how. And yeah, people can read it or not read it and do what they want with it. So that's just kind of letting you know what's going on with that. And if all goes well, then I should be able to do that tomorrow. I'm not setting that for sure. I know I've kind of put it off a couple of times, and I said that on Facebook, I said my tentative date was yesterday. But this is just something that I can't and I don't want to rush. So it'll get done when it gets done, and it's almost done, literally almost done. So, but for anybody who wants to know what it's about, I do have a video. I am going to move this video over to my other channel, I think, if anybody comes in and actually have a discussion. If not, then this is just going to be a real quick update for the people who are here because I haven't really gone over anything, and I mean, not too big anyway. So yeah, I'll be here for another few minutes or so, and hi to the few people I have here. Welcome. I'm nice to have you with me. I'm sorry for the inconvenience of having to come over to this channel, but I don't think it was my fault. I'm not going to hear back in the near future. I pretty much already know that. So hopefully when I do hear back, it'll be resolved quickly. I don't know. I don't know why it was reported for inappropriate content. Bible study, and it's never happened before. I really, truly do not know what the issue was. So I hope that it'll be resolved quickly, but in the meantime, I have this alternative, so hopefully it'll work, and if not, then, I will make use of it, and hopefully other people will too, but, so I'm just gonna, rambling. So we'll see how these go. I'll try a couple times, and if more people don't come during the live streams to add to the discussion, then I'll probably just, I'm not sure. Responding to a comment on my other video. For those of you who aren't aware, on my channel, my main Heather R channel, I did go over, like I said, the first 4 chapters earlier. The videos aren't long. I think the first one's like 18.5 minutes, and the second one is just a tiny bit over 20 minutes. So it gives you an introduction into what I'm talking about. No real heavy-hitting stuff. And honestly, the conclusions I drew were totally simple. And they're not convoluted in any way. It's just knowing where to go to find the answers. That's really all it is. But, God's not the author of confusion. And the more I think about it, in order to make some of these links, then, you have to be able to, understand the Greek language and what's a noun to a verb, and it's used in, this context here, and, whatever. Well, it's used one other time, so what does it mean? What did it mean then? What does it mean here? Just keep it simple. And if you keep it simple, it actually becomes really, really easy. So that's what I tried to do. And it doesn't mean just because it's a simple explanation that it'll be accepted. But, that's not on me. So I present it, and that's basically it. So I'll be done soon. I'm not going to go over anything more because I want the videos to be completely about that. So I'm not going to go over anything else about that now. So I guess if you're here and you heard it, then you're fortunate. So it's interesting. I'm just looking at some posts, and isn't it funny that every time a new European leader or new world leader at all comes on the scene, everybody's like, oh, Antichrist, oh, Antichrist. And everybody's having a field day over this Emmanuel Macron from France. They did it with Obama, and some people did it with Trump. They did it with the guy from Cyprus, or Greece, Alexander Tsipras, or Alexei Tsipras, or whatever his name was, and Erdogan of Turkey, and Vladimir Putin, and it's just funny. So, I think people are bored and they find ways to pass the time, but it's amusing. Okay, well, not to stay here and waste anybody's time. So I'm going to call this, been here for 20 minutes or so, I'm going to call this a night. And hopefully next Monday, more people will join us. So if you know anybody who comes to these, then please spread the word that there is a second channel that I can do live streams on, Heather R2. And if there's anything substantive, I will move it over to my other channel afterwards. But thank you for your time. I'm sorry I didn't have anything more to go through. This was kind of a trial and error. I'm sorry that I was late. I had technical difficulties. So I'm going to get back to work writing, and hopefully I will have something to present to you soon. And I will not do any more live streams or videos about it regardless until people have an opportunity to read it and read through it, and then people can ask questions or do whatever after they've had a chance to look at it, and then I will go through more as I normally do. So thanks for being here. Hopefully this wasn't a letdown, but thank you for your time and your patience and your stick-to-itiveness. I really appreciate it because it's encouraging that you guys are here regardless of the difficulties that I've been having. So hopefully they will resolve themselves quickly or be resolved quickly. But I hope you have a great night, and thanks again for being here. And if you have anything for me to go through in the next one, please let me know, because otherwise I'm reliant on you guys. So thanks again. Have a good night.